tēnā mai anō tātou, kua hoki mai anō mātou ki Hawaikirangi te hōtaka nei e whai atu ana i ngā mea tiana i roto o tahu. Tō mātou pēne, tō tātou me mātou pēne me ki i roto Wairarapa ki Tararua i te tangi hauauru au kati i roto i tēnei rā te rua ngahuru mārua o te marama tua ngahuru. Ko hara mai me kaere i mua i te tīmatanga mai o te hōtaka i tēnei rā. He karere nōna. He karere nōna i hara mai ai tēnā rā tātou. Me kaere.
Kia ora. And tēnā koutou to all your listeners. I'm sorry to hijack your program like this. Somebody's just phoned up and they've lost a dog. So I think we should get the call out as soon as possible.
Yes.
This is a triple-coloured heading dog. Now, everybody knows what heading dogs are like, very sleek. Some of them are border collies, but this is a New Zealand heading dog, triple-coloured. Went missing from Plunkett Street in Masterton, and it was seen around just after midday today, seen near the York Street kindergarten. The dog answers to the name Pippi. Friendly dog, and it will answer to the name. So if you're in that area and you see the dog, say kia ora to Hippie. Pippi, not Hippie. I'm an ex-hippie, but dog's got a tag on, it's fully chipped and everything. So if you manage to spot the dog, get in touch with Maureen. Maureen, her phone number is 370-3378. 370-3378. The dog's called Pippi, and unfortunately the dog's a bit gun shy, and there must have been a loud noise and ran away. So let's hope we can reunite Pippi with Maureen.
Ka pai. Yes.
Thank you.
Kia ora mi kaere. Ai. Te pānui anu tērā i te kuri nei. Ngaro atu ai i tērā wāhi ki te whakauriori nei ki tēnei rohe ki roto o tahu mākaka nui matua, ki roto anō o rangitāne nui arangi. Ki roto anō kia mātau kua tau ake nei, kua manawenua ake nei, ki roto ki te Wairarapa ki Tararua. Whakamihi kau atu. Ia tātou, whakatau atu ki a tātou. Tātou kua huri ake mai nei anō, tērā anō te pānui a mikaere i roto i tēnei wātonu nei. Taku tū manako, hara mai ana Rarauia, Calvin, Hamuera i roto i tēnei rā. Ko ai ka mōhio e hara mai ai, rātau tokotoru nei. Ko ai ka mōhio e hara mai ai. Ko ai e mōhio tonu atu ai, karakau au e mōhio. Karakau au e mōhio atu ki tērā. Hui anō, ko te tūmanako nā hara mai ai tētahi. Ki te kore, kai te pai rā tātou koau kia haere tonu ai ngā mea hai mea i roto i te hōtaka nei. Ngā kōrero tahu, ngā kōrero i roto i te pēne me ngā whakahaere o te pēne, te kaha o te pēne i roto i te wātonu nei. Me ngā whāinga, āhua nui ana ngā whāinga, ētahi kāre i te tai ati tonu ki ngā wā whakaharatau. Hoi anō, kai te pai. Kia tuku atu i te inoa i tuatahi ne, kia tuku atu i tērā i whawhai atu a hau kia pānui atu a mikaere i tērā pānui. Hoi anō, kai te pai tērā. Ko te mea nui kua tuku atu i te ritenga inoi ki te ariki atu a ki aia, kia tai ki aia, ngā tūmanako nui katoa, ngā hia nui katoa, me ki i ngā inoi katoa o roto i ngā kau, o roto i ngā manawa o tēnā i ngā whatu manawa katoa. Nā reira, te ariki atua, taku ariki atua, kua taimai ne anō, mātau ki Hawaikirangi hōtaka nei. Kia whai atu ai i ngā āhuatanga ki te pēne ki a tahu. A tahu nei. A tahu mākaka nui matua. Waiata i ngā waiata i a tahu mākaka nui matua ki te tai hawa uru ai ukati. A tahu, ko te tahu ki te nuinga. Ka te pai, te tahu ki te wahine, te tahu ki te tāne, te tahu ki a wairā nei. Ara, i te tahu ki te nuinga. Kua au ke pēr noi ho tērā. Kua au ke pēr noi hoa no tērā e ki ana te tahu haere nei i ngā wā katoa. Kua au ke pēr no tērā. Taku ari ki atua. Hoi anō. Ākua pēwhia, e tuku kauatua nei ngā painga katoa i ngā hua katoa i ni mea katoa ki a koe. Aku koe i a tonu, e ārahi tonu ana i a mātau. Meki e hiki ana, e hapahapai ana i a mātau. E hapahapai ana i a mātau. I ngā wā katoa, no reira, whakamoe miti ki roto ki tō hou ingoa. E iehua. Āmene. Ka pai. Hai waiata i tēnei rā. Hai waiata hīwene. Kia waiata tia pēr. E au tērā anō i waiata tia i tērā wiki. Ne? Pai. Te ariki atua ia. Kua hua e tēnā, ke pēr. Kua nui ho ke pēr tērā, taku āhua ki te rongo. Ki te rangi neira. Āhua pai. Te e ke pēr. Ka waihoa ki ke pēr tērā. Kia te rea ki āhai, kia te re ke ake. Te ariki atua ia. Te ariki atua ia. Ara ke rai te mate, te ariki atua ia. Horo nukua a papa. Whakia katoa toa. Te ehua te karaiti tariki atua. Amene. Ka pai. Yes, so we are back again for another week. The 22nd today. It's now 3:39. We're moving right along with the show. We've got a number of things to show you today. Apart from last week, we were going through one of our numbers and some of the ways that we compose and our compositions are quite professionally put together in terms of reggae. Music. Now, there are probably some theory musicians that would disagree with some things in there, but the point is, what makes the difference is our product compared to theirs. I guarantee you, the product that we produce of reggae music has far more reach, has far more roots, is far more cultured, far better cultured, and far better put together than anything that they would. There's a lot. In other words, what we're coming to is not that we're not saying that theory is a bad part, is a bad part of music. It's actually a really good part, a really helpful part of music, but it hasn't learnt everything it needs to know and doesn't use everything it needs to use for reggae music. Okay? it tends to do a lot more in terms of that. This is world. Most of the producers across the world, they tend to go to the the basic traditional rudiments and follow those rigidly. So, and that's a shame. That's a shame that you can't sort of move away from that sometimes. A lot of artists do. We're going to get to hear from some of those artists, some of the super heavyweights of the world. Some have already passed away, but we still have some other super heavyweights coming through as well across the world. And we can have a listen to some of the actual aspects of reggae that we don't seem to use in New Zealand. And we're only talking about the music in New Zealand. We're not talking about the heavyweights out there and a lot of the best in the world who are actually Rasta. They're all Rasta. They're all from that particular faith and have brought through the music that is a part of the great beliefs that have filtered through the centuries from long ago, since the first version of the very first, the original version of KJV, the King James Version. And so we get a lot of the soca and influences and the build-up of reggae music into what it is today. Okay? So you get the ska mixed in there, you get the rocksteady mixed in there, and you get 3 or even 2 put together to make one feel still. And that's another quote from Bob. And you can do things like that with the music. But you have to be careful how you, like one cover I was listening to of a cover of the song Journey by Jimmy Cliff. And, there was a nice rhythm. I even liked the feel from there were a couple of reggae feels put together there in the song. And it was well done. It was a great cover. You could get a sense of the style and the feel coming through from the interpreter of the song. The problem was that the interpretation was too much like the original. It ended up too much like the original, and I wondered why they did that, why they made it too much like the original. I thought, why? When you do a cover and you do it your style, you should do it fully in your style, rather than copy, tit for tat, exactly in the style of the person that recorded and produced the song. Because to copy their style is just, it's ridiculous. If I tried to do any of Bob Marley's songs exactly like him, I'd fail miserably, because a style of a reggae artist is, in particular, their style. So, and it's just like the style of tahu. And this is what I like of our name, the whole 3 meanings. It sort of incorporates this particular style that we're adopting. The lowercase t and the capital T, we've got a little bit of a touch of Christian influence in there. So the lowercase t serves us well there. Looks like a cross. And so, that's great. And then you get the 3 meanings of the word tahu in tahu mākaka nui matua. And there are other meanings, but those are the 3 major meanings that specifically you'll hear being used in today's reo tahu mākaka nui matua. Back a few weeks ago, I mentioned the Wairarapa reo, and the fact that is the hapu super tribal entity of Kahungunu. Kahungunu is the 4th line from that super tribal entity, not the first. So Kahungunu is not a Nure Tārewa. Kahungunu was 4th line from Ranginui Iranui wahine, iranui tāne, and then kahungunu. And so there's the line of kahungunu. Tamate au re haia, iwi te rere wā, rangi nui, kaputa, rangi nui, aroha mai. I'm just doing the just reciting the whakapapa of kahungunu is tamate au re haia. Ia iwi te rere wā, ko rangi nui, tuatahi, ko rangi nui tuatahi, ko iranui wahine, tuarua ko iranui tāne, tuarua katahi ko kahungunu. Ai, ko ia te tuawha, ko ia te tuawha. No reira, e harara wā i te ure tārewa. No reira, karakau i te hapu nui tonu, hapu nui nei. Tāngata whenua ai, i nohi atu ai, te nui rohe wenua, karekau. Ana, ka tino tūruki tonu atu anō ai tērā kōrero, i ngā kōrero whakapapa o roto i a tahumākāka nui matua, that fully reinforces all of the kōrero of tahumākāka nui matua and the findings of tahumākāka nui matua, that 41,000 ancestries under kahungunu today, stolen via the crown, the krauna, stolen via mandating processes of the crown to remain under kahungunu instead of being given back. 41,000 actually do originally belong to us because kahungunu is not a hapu super tribe. Or what do we call that today? We call it an iwi. No, kahungunu is not an iwi, and it doesn't even have its own reo. Its reo is Wairarapa, which is na on the ngā sounds in that reo, and na on the ka sounds in that reo, irregularly. Okay? It's irregular. Okay? Just like the reo of tahu, that's irregular. But in tahumaka, in Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi, there's no reo o. There's no reo o. It's all au. It's all au. Okay? And then it has its own te reo te tai rāwhiti. Tōna hanga. O roto i te tai rāwhiti. Kairoto. Tōna takoto kupu. Kairoto. Ana, kairoto anō o Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi te reo takoto. There are some waiata that we're going to be able to use that reo within. We'll talk about those a lot later on. And they will particularly relate to that branch of tahumākāka nui matua, the Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi. Don't forget, Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi are also very much from tahumākāka nui matua, even though their most direct line is Rarotonga ngā rauru. Rarotonga ngā rauru. That is their most direct line. Rarotonga ngā rauru, and then the most senior line of the Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi, which intermarries many, I can't think of how many, but there's several lines of the Ariki line that are intermarried out, and then several lines down through the Kahungunu as well that are intermarried out. For instance, Rākahikuroa is a tahumākāka nui matua because his line was intermarried out. The intermarriage of Kahukura Nui with Hinetapui of tahumākāka nui matua. So there you go. Those are just examples of how strong the most senior line of Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi is in terms of being tahumākāka nui matua. Hence the influence on the reo of Waitaha-Waitaha-rangi, which becomes the reo matua of kahungunu. Now, they also speak the reo matua of tahumākāka nui matua, see, which becomes part of the base reo. Why? Because it's the most senior part of that line. Okay? And they have to know those there because obviously they're going to be living within those circles. Whakawhanaunga hi atu ana rātau I a rātau anō. Kaitai? So all of their collectivity, all of their connectivity, and all of their activities in the days are within the rohe. Not much outside of the rohe, but mostly within those rohe of Tahumaka ka nui matua, waitaha rangi, and what's the other line of kahungunu? What's the other line of descent? The other main one? It's also a Tahumaka ka nui matua line, which is Rā Kainui, and that's the line of Iwi Te Rerewa, who is also called Iwi Pūpū Tekura, which is a nickname of hers, Iwi Pūpū Tekura. Her proper name is Iwi Te Rerewa from Tahumaka ka nui matua, from Rā Kainui, which is also a hapu super-tribal entity. Okay, from Rā Kainui, so the reo through there. Also spoken by the Ira Tūroto, Ira Nui, Ira Roa. Okay, very widely known. And of course, Iwi Te Rerewa was from those branches, from the Ira Nui and the Ira Tūroto. Kaitipai? Yeah, that's a cool bit of information there. I thought I'd branch off into there and then go into a waiata break. E tātou mā. That's a lot of kōrero to get through at the moment. So before we go into looking at some more kōrero about reggae, let me just first of all play this for you. A little snippet from Gregory Isaacs, one of the super heavyweights of the world. And then let's come back for a waiata, shall we? The only place I know, Lord, Kingston 14, Lord, Dillon Town, we'll play Mary's down in my room brown. Then a dream the other night, I was in jungle fighting a fight with a mute dreamer along with Bangla. Somewhere in some for me. Oh, speaking from the top of me. Oh, but the Western Kingston, then in town, we'll find all around, in my love around. I remember yesterday, the 851 great track, and the man of the master never really used the marshal, but way Kingston 14 on in town. Check out the Eastern Street if you might well read. I remember the more it's where we used to go. Can't you be a carnival? Sunday a funeral. Lord.
Well, this is Gregory Isaacs, the cool ruler, you know? Yeah. Well, I was born in Western Kingston, you know? Then I'm told that's in Kingston 14.
Western Kingston. Western Kingston. Down in the ghetto, the only place I know. And I'll never get involved. Respect the one and all. Lord.
Well, I started singing from the first time I was born, you know? Singing about Western Kingston and how we used to run, you know? Like Jim Brown and them things there, and that's where I grew up with, you know? Shokomolan, a place where we used to celebrate, and them things, the Florida mash up, and, you know, Bucky Marshall, but all of them either pass away still, you know, see? Well, them kind of man is what was talk, you know? Militant rebel. Militant, you understand? Here comes false evidence, wanna blame it on the innocent. They have their false pretense, but they're on the wrong side of the fence. And so, yeah man, see, not a day-to-day living where you know people who cut through different scene, yeah, people who get frame and people who are seen. Yeah.
Nana e tātou mā, koa ki te I roto I tēnā o ngā pikitia, ngā tāanga kiriata poto nei, kia tātou I roto I tēnei wā tonu nei. Hei whakaatu atu I etahi āhuatanga I roto I tēnei mea te puoro, I te oro ki ngi mangu e kōrero hi a kenei e tahu. Kāre kore, I roto I a tahu, I roto I ngā waiata, I roto anō I te puoro, a tahu, ka kitea mai I nei hua I roto. Ara, textures, me te whakakaha mai, te whakau mai o te rongo o roto I te waiata. And that's why I wanted to show a little snippet of that particular waiata, so we get an idea of what I'm talking about when we that waiata, even slow, you can get that sort of texture, and it sort of comes out a lot heavier when it's slow. When it's quick, you can make a feel like that heavy. If you listen to the bass, the heaviness of the bass, in the quickness, it tended to prolong that feel, that heaviness in the feel. The heaviness is to portray the powerful spiritual essence that Gregory Isaacs grew up in. See, you can cultivate, you can culture, you can create feels like that. And it gives you that feeling of exactly what it was like where he grew up. He grew up in Kingston 14, a part of Western Kingston, and that's what that song is about. Kingston 14, a part of Western Kingston, Denham Town, where Gregory Isaacs grew up. And he's one of the super heavyweights of the music. That was live, so it's quite quick. Recorded, that song is quite a fair bit slower than that. But still just as heavy, and the texture is very, very heavy. You can create that sort of feel within reggae music. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea there of what it is like. Kai te tahi meniti ki te whā, e tātou mā I roto I tēnei rā te pare ārau nei, o te rua mano rua ngahuru, tēnā hoki mai, tēnā hara mai, ki roto ki a tahu, pēne, ki roto ki a Hawaikirangi hōtaka, nau mai haere, tēnā tātou, kahuri.
Te o kanga pono ngā re kōrero tia whawhai tonu atu mō rātau I arohaina aha koa kōreri te noa tia rātau Whakapono ake ki a koe anō Whakatuturu tia o kupu anō Ono ki te kaupapa Wakaranga tira tanga Ranga tira hui hui Kia kaha, kia maia Kia manawa nui, kia aroha Kia whakaihi ihi, kia auaha Ko a rātau I arohaina aue Me mātau hia te tō tika aue Engari koe noho ai te taianga aue Whakapono ake ki a koe anō Puna ki te kaupapa Whakaranga tira tanga ranga tira hui hui
Tēnā hoki mai tātou, hoki mai anō, kai te rua meniti mai I te whā. Kai te rango nātu rā tātou te reo I Kaea Matiaha te aro hatai te rangipū a tātā o roto tahumāka ka nui matua hapu nui tonu. I tērā wiki anō, I pānui atu ai I te hōtaka, te kai waiwai kōrero, hai a tērā tau hoki mai ai, kai te maramarua, kai te marama toru rānei, hoki mai ai, te kai waiwai kōrero. Hoi anō, I roto I tēnei wā tonu nei, kai te rango Ngāti tonu tātou koang, ki te hōtaka nei Hawaikirangi, me ngā āhuatanga ki te pēne, kai te kaha haere te pēne. Kai te pai haere te pēne me ētahi o ngā waiata kua whakarite atu nei. Lots of songs are being prepared there by the band. We still haven't got the whole of the band together yet, having regular practices, but we'll get there. We're getting 4 to 7 at the moment. I'm glad we're getting more than 4 because then I can take 4 to 6 to do some of these gigs that we've got. I haven't started the gigs yet, but we'll start them and we'll get some video footage of those and we'll get to show you some of those. Just to, it also gives us a bit of promotion, you know. So it's really great. It's a great idea coming into ROFM and being a part of Wairarapa TV. Awesome, absolutely awesome promotion and great for a band that's just starting out. Mate, we're just starting out. We haven't even got anywhere near the celebrities that we have with us. Oh, people call me one too, but I sort of don't see myself as one. It's just something I'm used to doing, part of my job, I guess. Something that I do is hei waha kōrero anua, hei kai kōrero, hei pō kōrero, hei tū kōrero, hei rangatira atu anō, hei ariki atu anō, I roto I ngā tāngata, I roto I ngā hapu, I roto I ngā uri, I roto I ngā whānau. And also, I'm part of the most senior families of Tahumāka ka nui matua. So yeah, I hold a very privileged position. But yeah, just so that you know, I'm quite just really used to. I'm still a very, very shy person, so don't get the idea that I'm not, and that I am really. It doesn't matter how long, and I've been doing this sort of thing. I've been, tū kōrero and stuff like that. I've been doing probably since the age of about 5 or 6. My first gig, I think we did. I was 6, somewhere around there. And that was on a school stage with a band. And and we were in kapahakas and stuff like that, doing kapahakas and taking them out. I was, and leading kapahaka. So but I've always been a very, very shy person. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this sort of thing. You can never really, you tend to aim for the perfect performance, but you never quite get there. You've always got something that you always wish that you could have done better or you could improve. And nowadays I'm so much more relaxed about what I do. I guess that it doesn't sort of worry me too much anymore, except probably when the stakes get higher, you've got to, unless, it demands it. And it sort of still demands it on Arrow FM and Wairarapa TV. It sort of does. But the what we have is community. It's a real community thing here, so I can sort of relax still, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so that was a bit on myself and leading this band into, I think we have something like 16 of our own originals. We've got a ton of covers. Yeah, we've got tons. We could actually go out there, do gigs for a couple of hours. That's about 23, 24 songs quite easily. But we won't do that yet. I think we're going to do half an hour to an hour gigs, start off like that. And that's the thing with gig standard, is that you have to be of a very high quality. And I have such high standards anyway in performance and anything like that, that I always want my performance to be at its best. Things like you can be relaxed in some areas, but you sort of can't in some, and they're mainly when it comes to where you need to use professionalism. Say, like, if you're being paid. Now, if I do a gig, that's it. It's top quality or nothing. That's how I operate. That's just the way it is, and that's show business as far as I know, and it hasn't changed. So I think that a lot of what we bring into the industry also as Tahu the band, we certainly assist that side for a lot of different New Zealand reggae bands out there that may be just finding it difficult to find that balance between the theory side of reggae and the non-theory side. There's a balance, and you've got to strike that chord, and it's very, very hard, what we can see for most of the reggae bands in New Zealand out there, because most of them are theory as far as we know. I'm not theory, but I could argue that I was part theory, because I actually still use theory even though I'm not. I just tend to know where to use it and how I can use it to the best advantage of my music and to the best of my music to put it to lay it out in the best way I can. And for particular audiences, you've got to think about the audiences, etc. Now, kai te tuangahuru meneti mai I te whā. 4:10, I was hoping that we might get at least Narauia or Calvin and Sam come in today. But that's okay if they haven't been able to make it. And Nilos, he's still way too busy at the moment. There's a lot happening for Nilos at the moment. So I'll let him be. But getting up to 7, we've almost got half of the band coming regularly, but we've got just about the whole band actually practicing. We're just not coming together and being able to get cohesive and get regular large practices going yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Nō reira rai tātou. We were listening to before Tony Huata Hopu Kia Te Tao. I like some of the real songs here. We're going to look at a wee bit more of He. Now, He is going to be released next year, roundabout between June and September of next year, sometime between there. And our first album we'll be working hard on that from early in the new year, 2021. We might get a wee bit of that ticked down before the end of this year, but I doubt whether we'll get that much. Probably a 10-track album called All the Glory. We will release before the end of next year, probably late November next year. But we will have, prior to that, 3 single releases. One of those, Waiata, will be All the Glory, an original. And one of the oldest originals of produced under Tūtahu Trust Tahu Investments Limited with a reggae music shop, Te Toa Puoro Kiingi Mangu. And so it's been remastered, remixed, and everything like that by Tahu. All the Glory, and so we called the album All the Glory. And so 3 singles from that album will be released next year between perhaps March, April, and June, July. Then between June, July and September, 1 single on its own will be released. Now the 3 singles between March, April and June, July will be All the Glory, Reggae and Reggae. Now I've given a little snippet of that on here. And, some of the gigs that we play, and when we show parts of those gigs and give you a bit of an idea of how we sound live, and some of the things I've spoken to you about to make your reggae a lot more reggae and a lot better. Problem is, a lot of bands, a lot of reggae artists in New Zealand don't know when they're playing reggae and when they're not. See, someone like me, as soon as I hear, I go, whoa, what's that? Because if it's not, I'll know exactly when it's not. Okay? And if it is, then I'm going to love it. But if I stop nodding, then you'll know there's something wrong. So, yeah, it's a bit hard not to when you've played the music for so long. 46 years, that's a long time. I mean, a lot of our super heavyweights play the music for 60, 70 years, 80 years, some of them. Some of them are still playing, even at 80 years of age. So, yeah, I'm probably just a he ko hunga noiho, he ko hunga noiho, he pepi ngoteu, he pepi ngoteu noiho, and compared to a lot of them. So, that's great news for me because I love the super heavyweights of reggae music. Yeah, so that's just a little bit more there on how we're going. So All the Glory, Reggae in Your Reggae, and Ooh Reggae. Ooh Reggae is a very special waiata, just like All the Glory. In fact, all 3 of them are, except Reggae in Your Reggae developed over a long time to become a real mashup song. So it's almost totally rap, that song, almost totally rap. And it's got a little bit of, voice in it, a bit of gospel-y soul sounding voice on punchlines, etc., and a bit of introductory kupu whakataki rap in there, dub styling, dubbing over dub tracks, Yeah, and by the way, all those people that say the music is scratchy, kei te he tēnā. Kei te he tēnā, it's for the pure, specifically, it's a rub. It's actually a rub. It's not a scratch. There's no scratching. That's only in turntable styles, DJ, hip-hop, rap. That's scratchy. Reggae is rub-a-dub. Have you ever heard that term? Rub-a-dub. Underneath you put together the perfect dub for your song, which is the dub track, or the whole undercurrent of the song that you're writing or putting together, and over the top you put your main rhythms. Ai, no reira e tātou, and tēnei he waiata mai I a Kirsten Te Rito, tēnei e whai mai nei, oranga mai aia. Hei kawe I a tātou ki tētahi wā, ki te kōrero atu I a tahu. E tātou mā, piki mai, kake, hara mai, nau mai. Kahuri.
Te itera nei Tu tahanga ngā uri Tu moke moke ka He tamatane anō Ima te oho ere nei Ha kua whai po ana Kore e rango I te koa O te oranga mauroa Toko mahara wa tātou E memeha ana Ki te ara tika
Ka pai rā, Kirsten Te Rito tērā. Me tana waiatara I a oranga. Tino pai ne, tino pai ana waiata. No roto here taunga te wairua tērā o ngā wahine. Mai I ro... Ka reo mohio I te whea o ngā hapu o roto I te rohe. no uri ke pēr rānei, karakau au e mōhio atu ana i ngā uri hapu rānei i whānau mai ai Kirsten Terito. Hoi anō, nō roto, kua tūtaki ke atu e ahau e tahi Terito i roto te whatu i āpiti. Pēnā i te whatu i āpiti tēnā tūturu tahu mākaka nui matua Kirsten Terito. Hoi anō, karakau pia no tērā o ngā whānau a Kirsten. Karewe mōhio, karewe e tino mōhio. No reira, waiho atu i tēnei wā tonu nei, tērā taha ki te kōrero ki aia. Tērā waiata, hei, e kōrero atu ana i tērā wiki i tīmata atu ai, ka tata mutu atu ai, ngā mea hai whakaatu atu ki a tātou i roto i tērā o ngā waiata. Kia kau ai mai haere tonu, i te mea rā kai pau atu i ai ngā mea katoa i te waiatara. Yeah, so we're still putting the finishing touches to that waiata. It's already copyrighted to myself and another person who are basically the owners to the rights of that song. And that particular waiata. So we got the... and I think we got up to the... we got the main rhythm, we got the main changes in the song. We haven't put in all the drum rhythms there, but there's quite a number I know that I've missed out. But we got the basic ska rhythm in there. There's your drums in there. We've been trying the drums cutting in and out. Otherwise, the song can start to sound like other songs that are about. So original songs need to appear original sometimes. Otherwise, some people can say, "Oh, wow, but that sounds like such and such," and it isn't. It's very original, that song. It's so yeah, we might cut in and out with drums or work percussion in that same way. So we've just cut through the first verse, we've gone into the first interlude or the first bridge, and then we've come up to the rap verse. Waitiri 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 nei Fatu kamo e waitiri waitiri and then we go into the what? That's numi numi ka. Numi numi ka no ke huki e. Numi numi ka no ke huki e. And the actual the reason I'm doing that part and the rap verse separate at the moment is because I'm playing it on my own. If I had other band members here, we could actually do that part properly, how it will sound, and it actually has the rap verse over the top. So, numi numi ka, he waited, waitiri nei, fatu kamo e. Ano na huki mutu kore. And what that whole rap verse sums up is the sign of a broken heart. You know, when someone just bursts out with tears. You know, the eyes just well up with tears and boom, the tears just start to flow. That's the first sign of a broken heart. Yeah, and people get broken-hearted over all sorts of things. For some people, it's someone who's, you know, always been so close to them and they've just passed. Or for someone, you know, someone just left them. Someone just left them. So for this person, yeah. Waitiri, wairere, waitiri, wairere, waitiri, nei. Fatu kamo e, waitiri, wairere, waitiri, wairere, waitiri, nei. Ano nā hoki mutu kore. I mutu korano nā hoki mutu kore. Yeah, 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 yeah. And back to the ska rhythm. Yeah, don't be afraid in your waiata. The reason I wanted to show that part is don't be afraid in your waiata to have changes. And a lot of our reggae songs were used to the same thing all the way through from start to finish. Don't be afraid to have changes. Don't be afraid to go into the dub. You know, Bob did that a lot. Bob used his dub like in... and Lively Up Yourself, he did that. In a lot of different songs, he went into the dub. And he dubbed through on the bass line and on the bass and drum, bass and drum, bass and drum. It's always bass, lead and drum. Rhythm section is the most important part of your whole reggae repertoire. So sometimes it's good to show how tight that is. And Bob had one of the best, actually they had the best rhythm section in the world during his time. Yeah, massive rhythm section, you know, Sly and Robbie, you know, those sorts of people, Mr. Dunbar on the drums, you know, and of course Bob there on the rhythm, and you had your perfect bluesy soul lead. That's all reggae needs, really, is a bluesy soul lead. You don't need to be tricky, you don't need to be anything, because lead isn't the most important part of reggae, it's the rhythm. It's the rhythm that's the most important part of reggae. Yeah, so just finishing that part off there. And numi numi kau noa ke hoki e. I mean, so this is a real hahua keke te tangata nei, you know. So he's a really stubborn-minded, stubborn-hearted person. And so he starts to, from the time when she says, well, it's over, that's it. You know, you might be far away from me at the moment, but, you know, be you far away, you know, be even further as far as I'm concerned. That was it. So he says, well, you know, you've always been a woman of few words. And again, you've captured that wholeheartedly. And you have such a way with words that even in a few words, you still say everything. That's hiti kupu no ho e nui kōrero tonu e. Hiti kupu no ho e nui kōrero tonu e. That's that line there. And I tō ho kiri ka kapa noa ke ano hoki e. Some movements you make, you know, movements that you make sometimes, the movement of your head. So without mentioning, there's so many specific ones, without mentioning any specific one, what he's saying there. And so he's pointing her attention to the fact there's so many different things that, you know, he cherishes in his heart. He treasures in his heart so deeply about her that he starts to, you know, persuade her mind to think about those things and what he thinks about her, which is far more important than the heartbreak itself. But the moral of the story, she was a woman worth having a broken heart for. But the other funny part, apart from the male person's stubbornness, is that actually they ended up, pretty much staying together. So there's a good ending, yeah. And you can also feel it in the song now, whereas you couldn't feel that before. Yeah, so there was a great ending to it where everything started off looking like shutting down. It actually all ended up building back up again, and everything got back to normal. So, yeah, so a bit of a hard case, Waiata. But the stubbornness of the male comes through, and he points her mind to the fact that, these things he loves about her are so special to him, so cherished in his heart, so treasured by him. Numi numi kau noa ke hoki e. He would, be lost in the, he'd often, if because the next line is ngaro noa noa ue. Ngaro noa noa ue. Movements she'd make, just the move of her head or just the look of her eyes, she'd go things like that, little looks of her eyes or kisses that she would blow. They are things that he would be wiped out by. That he's absolutely adored all those sorts of things about her, how she moved, how she carried herself. And so, they were very special things to him. So he became lost in those, and oftentimes he became lost within and without those movements of her body, almost like he disappeared behind himself. Yeah, within himself, outside, inside, outside, inside. Numi numi kau noa ke hoki e, I'd be lost and then found again, back looking at you, lost, and then found again every move that she made. Numi numi kau noa ke hoki e. And it can have, there's let me be honest, there are some sexual connotations, but we won't go there. So I said to you a couple of weeks ago that the song, how lovers go, that was the way I termed that. So, how lovers go, those sorts of things are in the waiata as well. Numi numi kau ngaro noa noa ue, because I'd become lost, suddenly lost in those movements, and my mind would be elsewhere. See? So that's cool. And knowing that sort of thing. Waitiri wairere, the way of the eyes, whatukamokamoe, the eyes, building up, welling up inside of him, and then just, unstoppably, as roi mata'a. The funny thing about a broken heart, roi mata just tend to flow and flow. 1, 2, 3, they drop just like that, 5, 6, 7, and they just keep dropping. Because your heart's broken, the tears just flow normally. It's like a normal flow. And so that's what that rap part means. And I want to go up to there. The second verse gets more explicit, but I won't go into the second verse because it's a lot more focused on what was happening at the time and exactly how he felt about that. But then you go back to the first verse again, you do the first verse again, so you're reminded of the stubborn-hearted ways of the male. So in the end, he won her over, so it's a bit of a hard case how all that comes together, but hopefully, and there's a lot more sexual connotation in the next bridging part of the song, that part. Aroha kaunoa ke ano kakare i kua toru ngahuru meniti me te ono. Mai I te whāina iana. Karekau te hara mai pia rarauia mā. Te roto te roto oh, that's the note there. You know, don't be afraid to have changes. Don't be afraid to make your songs live, move, and breathe right on the spot, because that makes your reggae come alive, you know. And don't worry if it's a little bit quick. Like that's like mid-tempo. It's about middle range pace and tempo, that song. And a lot of your dancehall songs are, you know, rappy songs and stuff like that. I like that. But we have a lot of waiata that are not so rappy, you know, and we do all sorts of reggae songs. We sing every type of reggae song that there is, including covers of UB40, Bob Marley, Black Uhuru, Eddie Grant, you know, all those sorts of people, LKJ, Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown. We do all those people, you know, and they're all the super heavyweights of the music. Let me play you another great snippet from the great late Gregory Isaacs, one of my favourite songs. This particular waiata, just to give you another idea, e tātou mā. I wish I had a copy here. Oh, taihua, I might just sort through. And while I'm talking to you, I might sort through here and see if I can get a live version of It Ain't Easy. But that's my favourite Gregory Isaacs waiata, my favourite Gregory Isaacs song, and I'll see if I can find a live version of it somewhere here. Let's see if we've got one here, and if we have, then we should be all good to go. Yeah, of course, if we haven't, then we obviously we can't show that. But it's a great waiata live. Let's see if we can get it here. But yeah, get used to textures and how they're put together in reggae. Some of the roughest, toughest sounding textures that can be made with the reggae bass line and the reggae bass line and the drums are quite brilliant when you listen to the lyrics put together with it. You know, reggae music being ghetto music as well. You know, it's so ghetto. And when you listen to that waiata I played just for you earlier, Kingston 14, which is one of Gregory Isaacs' best waiata, you get the idea of what it was like growing up in West Kingston. It was a rough, tough, mean neighbourhood, and that was all he knew. And there were some things going on there that created difficulty, you know, for life there. Life there wasn't easy. Yeah, so just trying to get a copy of It Ain't Easy going here, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to find it live. So we might just have to put up with the recorded copy. I might just put up with the recorded copy. Sorry, everybody. This is it. Gregory Isaacs. It ain't easy. E tātou mā. Ngā mihi atu ki a tātou.
Love isn't easy game to play. It's here this moment. Suddenly love is fade away. As we said our first alone, we said our very last goodbye. And I'd like you to know, now it is your turn to cry. Yeah. It isn't easy. Love is an easy game to play. It's here this moment. Suddenly love is fade away. Those every time that we both used to share has now become my worst nightmare. But when I found out that you didn't care, girl, you get me feeling so very scared. It isn't easy. Love ain't an easy game to play. No. It's here this moment. Suddenly love is fade away. Like thinking and clover, we used to be. Now it's all over. I've got to set you free. It isn't easy. Love ain't an easy game to play. No. It's here this moment. Suddenly love can turn away. Oh. It isn't easy. It isn't easy, yeah. It isn't easy. Love ain't an easy game to play. No, no, no. It isn't easy. It isn't easy,
Ai
yeah.
rā hoki e tātou mā. The late and great Gregory Isaacs. Good to still hear him being played on the air. E tātou, and especially on a show like this one, Hawaikirangi. Me ngā kōrero katoa o Hawaikirangi te pēnei a tahu nei. Me ona whāinga matua, ona āhuatanga, te oro puoro ki ngi mangu. Ngā mea katoa nei hai whakau atu i ngā āhuatanga katoa ki te puoro kia tahu, ki roto ki te pēne. You know, it's so great to have. And just listening to one of the masters there, the great mastery of reggae music. You know, and I speak of textures very highly because I was talking to you about the slowness of the music, the arrangement of the music in the slow. It still has to sound like reggae. You can't have it sounding like white space music because that's all we get most of the time. You know, we don't get reggae, we get wide space music. People are not understanding how to put that together in the slow. And in the slow, textures like what Gregory Isaacs used in Kingston 14 today. And even in that song, that's why I was looking for a live version of It Ain't Easy, because it's absolutely beautiful in the live version, because you get all the textures as well. You don't really get the textures in the recorded version, though the heavy bass and drum is in there. It's only heavy if you have it on a big loud sound system, etc., etc. But you can't sort of get the texture, the full texture being created in the song. And it's almost as quick as the live version, but the live version's a bit quicker. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful reggae, the live version. And I speak of textures very highly because it's what makes or breaks your reggae. Yeah, if you can put those together, and they just happen naturally in the song. It's because of how you've arranged it and put it together. You know, a great reggae bass line like boom, 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 boom. I like messing around with bass lines. Even, you know, I just like jumping on and just hearing those bass lines, and you know, creating drums as well, and just feeling those textures. That's what I do. A lot of the time on my own, when I feel like a bit of practice on my own, it helps me get into the groove, into the reggae mood, into the reggae groove, and I create those textures for myself, and I feel them at the right times and sustain them at the right times. Go quicker, sustain them for longer periods of time, and make them a lot heavier, the textures, and etc., etc. And you can do all those sorts of things with your reggae music. You can arrange it just like reggae should be arranged. Okay? And the sound of reggae is wide, 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 wide. And that's why I said to you last week, we could end up anywhere. We could end up taking this music to sound just like Jerusalem. And that's all we could play, songs like that. Who knows? We could do anything. We could sound absolutely far out in techno. Or we could sound like Skrillex and Damien. Nah, we wouldn't sound anything like that. I don't know. But it could come to anything, and that's what you can do with reggae, just about anything. So don't tie it down and box it up to just ejek, or anything like that, because those are just signature rhythms of the music. That's a calypsonic strum, yeah? That's a signature part of the music that doesn't happen in any other music. So everyone identifies reggae like that, but it's not the only rhythm. See, there's lots of others. There's rhythms without it. See, lots of them. Yeah. No reira ko tātou no tira i roto i tēnei rā e tātou ma kia tere ake hoki a hau ki te kia tere rā. Te ariki atu a ia, te ariki atu a ia. Ara ke rai te mate, te ariki atu a ia. Horo nuku a papa, whaki a katoa toa. Te hua te karaiti te ariki atua. Amene. A tēnā mai anō tātou. Kia inoi tātou. Te ariki atua, taku ariki atua. Kua huri atua no mātau i roto te hōtaka Hawaikirangi i roto i tēnei wā tonu nei. Ki te puta atu, i roto i te taupuni pāho, i roto i te taumata kōrero. Kia puta atu mātau ki etahi mea, etahi whāinga o te rā. Mea no i roto i te whare karakia, te whare ritenga inoi, tai atu anō hoki ki etahi mea i te taha ki te puoro, ki roto ki te taha ki te koropiko, i roto i te whare ritenga inoi o mātau. No reira rā, whakamue miti, Whakawhetai hoki ngā hua o te rā. Whakawhetai hoki he arahina nohu kia mātau o mātau ia kokoni, ia kokoni, ia kokoni. Ia mātau, ia wāpū, ia wāpū, ia wāpū. I roto i ngā āhuatanga katoa kia mātau, i roto tau whakaarahirahi. Ai ngā wā katoa, mea ti atu. Kiau tonu atu anō ai, e nei āhuatanga katoa no kia o mātau whānau, o mātau whanaunga, o mātau uri, o mātau hapu katoa no. Tukuna atu ana tēnei kupu kia koe, kupu whakanui, kupu whakamoe miti, whakawhetai ki tau ingoa matahi apo te iehu ai. Āmene.